Okay, so I started recording this session. Um, so if anyone has any doubt, etc., so you can have your doubts clear now. Raise your hands. Yeah, Bhaskar. Yes, Bhaskar, you can unmute yourself and then talk.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Sir, in the 2B video, when we were talking about parent and child matrix, is
Matrix,
it? Yes,
parent and child
the vectors,
vectors.
sir,
Hmm.
X and Z. Sir,
Hmm.
when X were orthogonal, is it necessary that Z will also be orthogonal?
See, X alone cannot be orthogonal.
X1 and
Orthogonal
X2.
x1 and x2 are orthogonal. So now your question is,
Z1 and
I
Z2 are
apply
required
a
to be.
matrix A to x1 as well as x2,
Yes, sir.
whether the z1 and z2 will also be orthogonal or not.
Yes,
That is
sir.
your question, right? It is
Yes, sir.
not necessary that they will be orthogonal. Not necessary that they will be orthogonal. So we have to check it actually. There is no, like, it is not a rule is there that a transformation of orthogonal set of vectors gives you
Yes, sir. I checked it, sir. It was coming only if P transpose into P is identity matrix.
right, right. So actually the matrix must be some sort of speciality should be there in the matrix. PP transpose equals to identity is actually also called an orthogonal. I hope I am correct. It is called an orthogonal matrix. In that situation, the columns of the matrix are also orthogonal. So this is a special sort of a matrix. Otherwise, in general, it will not happen. In general, if your x1 and x2 are orthogonal and you apply any matrix A to x1 giving you z1 and a matrix A to x2 giving you z2, then z1 and z2 will not be orthogonal in general.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Hmm. So, whatever I am covering, were all these covered in your mathematics course? You had a mathematics course probably in first year or second year covering linear algebra. या उसमें ध्यान ही नहीं दिया तुम लोगों ने, whatever had been taught there in that course.
नहीं सर वो ध्यान देने लायक नहीं तो था मतलब बहुत वैसे चल रहा था क्या चल रहा था पता नहीं चल रहा था
पता नहीं क्या हो गया, मतलब ऐसा चला गया क्या? Okay, let's not talk about that. I hope that what I am sharing, you are able to understand some part of it at least, and it requires a bit staying with the maths actually. You have to stay with it for some time. You have to do some practice, and you have to. If it is more useful if you can draw some pictures, like draw the vectors and the matrix. At least in 2 dimension, you can always do the drawing and the sketching. 3 dimension also you can do the sketching, though it becomes a bit involved. Or but at least for second order and third order you can in the first few weeks that you are practicing these mathematical concepts, you should try to do the drawing along with whatever thing you are solving. If it is in second 2 dimension or 3 dimension, you should try to draw it. Then you get a feel of what is happening. I was looking at a video in YouTube also where they have excellently expressed the idea of matrix operation. I will share only one video, and you can go into that channel and look at other videos also. There they have made an animation of how the space is changing when you are applying a matrix to the space. So you will get a more clear or a better idea, probably a better visual idea of what is actually happening to a space when a matrix transformation is applied to it. Other things about, I hope you are clear that orthogonal vectors are independent, but all independent vectors will not be orthogonal. So that about orthogonality and independence must be very clear in your mind. We are not in general concerned with orthogonal vectors, though at certain specific situations we are, but for this particular course we are not so bothered about the vectors being orthogonal. But what we need is a set of vectors to be independent in order that they may form a basis of a space. So I hope that these concepts are covered in the 3 videos that I have given you. The next set of videos we will see how these concepts actually relate to the control systems problem that we are dealing with. So you must have the concepts well founded in your mind before looking into the next set of videos. This course, I already have stated from the very beginning, is already named as advanced control system, so it is advanced and it is math oriented. So you have to deal with the maths, even though you may not like it. I am trying to present it in as clear way as possible for myself also. I am also not a math person, though I understand the mathematics and I love the mathematics, uh, but I am trying to make you understand as plainly and as lucidly as possible without making it oversimplified. Actually, we cannot make it too simple. There is something that you should those concepts must be there with you. But this sort of drawing, etc., this you will not find so much in um, books, and this geometrical understanding is not so much delivered by teachers I have seen, as well as they are not so much well described in books. Recently I am finding some YouTube videos who have described it in a geometrical manner. I will share one of it and you can follow up from there if you in your own interest. Okay, Kanhaiya had a problem which I was informed, so his submission will be considered. But this is like you should understand that you should not keep your submissions for the last day. So there may be something happening, and one cannot always ask the teacher like this, that please allow me that submission. This is not a good habit to develop. So you should try to do the submissions at least a few days earlier, so that you have some time. If something happens, then you can even have some buffer time, so that you can upload it in time, upload the submission on time. In this week, since we were all new and some people were not able to understand what exactly to do during submission, I am allowing the submission till Monday midnight actually. So if you have submitted yesterday, so all those who have submitted yesterday, I am not considering that a late submission. And Kanahaya, he is saying that he could only submit today because did not have electricity. So I am considering his submission only only his case as special and I will not consider that as a late submission. However, you should, while submission, you should be careful that you are pressing that turn in button. There is a turn in button at the very top right. I hope everyone has noted it now. So when you are submitting, press the turn in button. If you have forgotten to press the turn in button, then don't go and press the turn in button the next day. Okay, because we are actually looking at all the students, we are going into all the students portals and seeing if they have uploaded something or not. So if you have uploaded and even not turned in, we will be able to see that upload. We have checked it, it works. So if you have uploaded and if you have not pressed the turn in button, even then we would be able to see the upload. So if you have forgotten, by any chance, if you have forgotten to press the turn in button, don't worry about it and don't press it on Monday evening or something like that. So you leave it. We are checking your all the students after Sunday midnight. We are checking whether all have submitted or not, and accordingly we are maintaining a tagging of the students who have not submitted even after the deadline, and those students will only receive the penalty. Others don't need to worry. If you have uploaded, you don't need to worry about it. So I hope that is clear. And another thing I am observing that most of you are submitting within time the quizzes. At least I'm sure you would like to know the answer to the quizzes. So what I will do, I will close the quiz submission tomorrow, maybe Wednesday or maybe Thursday. So some date you can give, like the Sunday is the submission deadline. We can keep the closing deadline for like 3 or 4 days after that. So after that, no one would be able to submit the quiz anymore. So if something like that is agreeable to everyone, I will put up a poll maybe, and you can give your anonymous opinion regarding having closing of the quizzes on Wednesday can be a good day, because you will be receiving your grades on the quizzes. You will know what you have done wrong, and if you have any doubts, you can ask it on Thursday live session. So that's why I'm thinking Wednesday midnight can be a good time to close the quizzes. So I will put up a poll. You can respond to that poll, and we can decide accordingly. Anything on the lecture videos? Many of you have seen the lecture videos. I hope most of it is clear, but if there are any doubts, please ask it. I'll be happy to answer. This is one subject which actually I like this mathematical part of this subject, the linear algebra and all. We are mm, we feed on linear algebra, control system engineers, actually control system researchers. This is like our bread and butter. We have to know this linear algebra very well, and I really like it because it has a sort of similarity to our real world. We have our one-dimensional space, two-dimensional space, three-dimensional space, and beyond that it becomes abstract. It is like we have to make it in imagination, but some of the spaces we can really see, really visualize, and we can appreciate what is happening by looking at things, very real physical things in the space. We have we know that the concept of translation, the concept of rotation, all this can be actually um, described by using a matrix. So there are rotation matrices, there are translation matrices. So these things are there, and rotation, translation, they are very real things. So some people uh, might be interested in robotics. So there are these matrices which transform from one reference frame to another. So changing from one reference frame to another means what? We are still in the same three-dimensional space, but we are changing the basis of that state. We are looking the state from a different perspective. That is what is happening. When we change from xyz to r theta phi coordinates, that is what is happening. We are changing the basis. We'll get to know how well you have understood the concepts when the quizzes will be turned in. I hope bases are clear, independent vectors are clear. We also did a numerical operation, I believe, in the third video, the column operations. Is there any question regarding the column operations? That is the one thing that you should extract out from these three videos. Even if you don't understand what is going on with the spaces, what is going on with the matrices operating on vectors, you don't need to understand those things, you just need to understand the column operation, because that is what we will be doing again and again and again and again. The column operation must be clear. It is an algorithmic process, no-brainer thing. So you must be able to do a column operation given a set of columns. So that you should be comfortable in doing, and that would solve a lot of numerical problems that you will be having in this course. Conceptual problems, for that you have to really go into the theory, but at least you should cover the numerical side of the course. Yes, raise your hands. You don't wait for me to stop my lecturing to raise your hands. Raise your hands, I will call you. You can write in chat also. So how many students are online? 75. Okay. The attendance is depleting. Yes, last day I think it was 100 around. Total 147 or 146 people are there. Quite a lot. Though this live session is not mandatory at all. If you have doubts, only then you are supposed to come, and others can always come in order to have an interaction and listen to other people's doubts also. Okay, so I guess that not others are not having much doubt on the lecture videos. Good, then I hope you will do well in the quizzes, and the quizzes are not easy but also not very difficult. So they would require some conceptual clarity on the topics. Did any one of you try to do that exercise on yourself, like measuring your breathing rate? Since we don't have any technical questions, just I want to understand whether you are interested in that breathing exercise, that thing that I told you about. Did anyone actually go ahead and calculate their breathing rates? Don't feel shy if you have done it. So it is not a crime to understand how your physiological process happens, one should always be interested in one's own self first. We should really look into ourselves and how we actually operate, and try to make that operation more efficient. Whether there is a scope to make ourselves a more efficient machinery. Look at your own body as a machine. It is actually a machine. It is operating on fuel, and one of the fuel is the air that you are breathing in. So if there is a chance, if there is a scope to reduce that fuel intake while delivering the same output, then your own efficiency would increase. If there is a scope to do that, why should we not do that? Why should we remain ourselves or keep ourselves as a less efficient person? We should always try to increase our efficiency, and taking slow breath slowly has a lot of beneficial has a lot of benefits, not just in our physical body but also in our psychological body. So it also reduces our anxiety, stress, nervousness, all these things, if there is a constant practice of breathing slowly. You should measure your breaths. So maybe I will ask you in a poll probably, so how many breaths you are taking in 1 minute, so you can make a count and report it. It would be anonymous, so if you can look at how you are at par with others in your batch. It will be a fun thing to do, I'm sure. Coming to third year, you are not so much in fun stage, probably. Your second year counterpart is more active in these sort of things, so they are having more energy and more enthusiasm in these activities. Your enthusiasm has died a bit, so don't let it die down. So I want to encourage you to uplift yourself, to look at yourself again with a new energy and in a new perspective. So
Yes.
someone is saying something. Someone was trying to say something. Rajiv has put up a message. Rajiv has counted 17 breaths per minute. What is the average rate of human breaths? We noted something down last time. 12 or 14, something I don't remember. Let me see. Human is 16. Human is 16. So 17 is almost there. You can try to reduce it. So if you are able to take around in the lower range, like around 12 or 11, maybe 10, then it is better. And I will ask you to count your breaths in empty stomach. That is one important thing actually, because after you eat, the breathing rate automatically increases because you have to burn the food, right? So there is the oxygen needs to be there, so oxygen rate increases that time. So you should do this counting after around 2 hours of your eating. So the normal amount of diet that we take in general gets digested in around 2 hours, or at most maybe 3 hours. So you can probably do this counting in empty stomach. I suggest that you sit down in empty stomach, relax, and then you start looking at your breathing rate. Bhaskar has some question.
Sir, what was your score?
I actually forward. I have to do it again. Okay, I will also report my score. no problem with that. I will also report my score. Let us see the poll, and let us be honest in doing this. So my score will be quite less actually, that I can assure you. And there is also some other thing actually which helps me decrease my score, so that I will also talk about probably once I get to know all your scores and all. Anything else regarding the technical side? See, the technical side is quite involved. The mathematics, if you are able to understand it, it is very good, very good. Normally, people would take some time to get this mathematical idea of vector spaces and matrices, etc., etc. So I got taught by a very good teacher, and then I followed up also. I stayed with the subject. I liked it, uh, and this subject is actually the subject which generated, or which generated for the, or you can say one of the subjects which generated my interest in mathematics. The other one is calculus. So these two are the topics, or the subjects in mathematics which holds my interest in mathematics. Other topics I don't like, especially I don't like permutation and combination. I really can't understand the more involved problems in permutation and combination. But these calculus and linear algebra, these are the two topics which make me love mathematics. So I hope that you will also find these topics to be a gateway to look at the world in a mathematical way. Calculus as well as linear algebra, they have very real world feeling is there somewhere. You can then extend that ideas, real world ideas, to your abstract imagination. Anything else? So if you don't have anything else to discuss, anything general, that would also, we can also take something up very general way. Okay, so if you don't have anything to discuss, then we will end the meeting now. I have put up a marking scheme. Okay, Shivam has some question. Before Shivam speaks anything, I'll just end this. I have put up a marking scheme in the files section. So in the general channel, you will see in the files section there is a TWS marking scheme. So I hope that will be understood by everyone. If there is any doubt on that, you can ask me in the next live session. Shivam, you were asking, you wanted to ask something.
Yes, sir.
Hmm.
Sir, actually, I'm not able to solve a sort of problems uh, uh, calculating the second companion form from the transfer function. Actually,
Hmm.
I'm not able to understand how to uh, go with the mathematical part. I understand the theory that we have to divide by s to the power n and then go on, but I'm
Hmm.
not able to deal with the mathematics of that.
That is the mathematics. What else is there?
So I was solving the problem.
Hmm.
Uh,
Did
let
you
me
find the transfer function? The transfer function given
So
to you?
transfer function is actually given in the question itself.
Hmm. So
Then
you can bring it to that 1 by s to the power of n, something minus something. I don't remember the terms. Then 1 by
yes, sir,
s, in that form you can
if
bring it, na?
1 by s, 1 by s square, 1 by s to the power 3,
Hmm.
these terms are made. then after that we have to go through the block diagram, or like directly evaluate A, B, and C and D.
Directly you can evaluate. Okay. If you want to go via the block diagram, that is also fine. But if you are not asked to build the block diagram and show the derivation steps, then if you remember the mapping, that which parameter goes where in the A matrix, B matrix, C matrix, if you remember that, you can directly do that. So this is a very well established form. So the direct computation is allowed here. You don't have to
So
derive all the time.
we can use that formula, na, which we have derived in the theoretical portion.
Yeah. So the final ABC matrix that you have derived, there is a particular form where the an minus 1, a0, these are sitting, and where the b0, b1, how the B matrix is getting formed, how the C matrix is getting formed, so that you can directly take from the transfer function and write there.
Okay, sir. And sir, one more thing. I read this thing actually on the internet. Like the order of the system can be decided by the fact that how many number of energy storage devices are there in the system. Is it true, sir?
It is true, but there is a caveat here. So I don't really talk about it in the courses, but since you have asked, I will show you a counter example where this does not fit. Suppose you have a RLC circuit. So there you can understand that there are two storage elements, L and C. Now I can keep on increasing the number of inductors by putting them in series. Same I can do for capacitors. They are individual energy storage elements. If I have two inductances in series, they are individual energy storage elements. But does it increase your number of states? They don't increase your number of states. Okay, because actually you can combine them. So this idea of having the lumped energy storage element is what needs to be conveyed. But what would be lumped? So in electrical circuits we know the idea of lumped capacitors, lumped resistors, and lumped inductors. I hope you have heard this terminology, lumped. In power systems we use it. But what would be this lumped in any general system? We are not experts in all the different types of systems, right? So it is wise to actually look into the physical, look into the actual dynamical equation of the system, starting from the first principles. Once you have the dynamical equation, then you can very clearly point out that the highest degree of the output in the dynamical equation will be the number of states. Someone is raising any hand or anything? Chat? Nothing. So is that doubt clear, Shivam?
Yes, sir. Clear.
So in
And so one more thing.
most cases you can actually figure it out from there, but you should not rely on it so much. You should always have that in the back of the mind. Yeah, Shivam, you are asking something.
Yes, sir. Sir, if in the question it's not specified, like where we have to take, like which portion to take as an output, then what to do, sir? We can assume any of the output with our own self.
Is there any question like that in the tutorial sheet?
No, sir, not exactly in the tutorial. Like if it's like if we consider that two mass spring damper system, we are applying a force F on the first block, and now we are required to write down the state equations. Then what should the output be considered? The
You
displacement of the first block or the second block?
the the way you consider the output will give you some particular dynamical equation. So normally the output will be specified for the problem. In a practical system, what you can measure out of the system is considered as the output. Very simple. What you can measure out of the system is considered as the output of the system. There can be multiple outputs, there can be a single output. So this is how we actually demarcate single input, single output systems, multiple input, multiple output system, and as many number of inputs and outputs we are giving and taking out of the system. So the output definition is important in a sense that it will help you to write down the dynamical equation of the system. Otherwise, you have to write them down in terms of the output. Otherwise, you cannot go ahead. So the output needs to be identified. If in a problem you find it is not specified, you should ask the person who has given you the problem, and if there is some lack of clarity, or if there is some allowance that you can choose any output, then you can go ahead doing that. Otherwise, you should try to become specific regarding what is the output of the system, which particular variable I should consider as the output.
Sir, so we cannot express multiple output in single equation, na?
No.
We can
If there
express
are,
only one output
yeah,
by
if
one
there, sorry.
and then try to win another one, na?
Hmm.
Okay, sir.
If these two outputs are related in some way through a differentiation or something, then you will actually get only one equation. Otherwise, you will get the two equations. Suppose you try to consider the position as a one output, then velocity you can consider as another output. It can be also made available to you, but that output is already related to the first output through a derivative operation. So then it comes in the single dynamical equation.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so I guess no more hands are there. So we can end the session now, and I will put up the poll regarding closing of the quizzes, and let's see what the class says, and depending on that we can take a decision. So meet you again on Thursday. So for so long, goodbye.